Hey everyone, I'm Elfels, and welcome back to the WCL. Last time I beat Anivia to get up to a 5-0 record, which brings us to week 6 against joeayt and the Akron Agrons. And I've played Joey quite a few times at this point. Since I started consistently playing in Season 7, I think I've played him in just about every season since then. We may have missed each other in 11 and 13, I honestly don't really remember. But yeah, we've had a lot of matches. I think I've definitely taken away more of the wins, but they're always really good games, really close. Some of my favorite matches on this channel are against him. He plays well, he's just a pretty good coach. But anyway, this is a team that he's got this season. We're looking at a rain team, and it is a very strong one. Our Caledon is a giant rain threat, and then instead of a swift swimmer, he just has the round 1 iron bundle, which is arguably way scarier. Rain boosted hydro pumps along with freeze dry is just ridiculous to switch into. Those are the only obvious rain abusers, but Scizor loves the reduced fire weakness, Dreadnought gets that water type stab boost on its sweeping sets, and Moltres actually really likes consistent hurricanes, so that's kind of nice for it. With that being said, I am most concerned about the 3-man rain core of Pelipper, Bundle, and Arcaladon. Then Sandy Shocks is a big threat that I don't have amazing switch-ins for. And then the Terra Captains are all potentially worrisome. Joey is one of the coaches who went with 3 lower tier options instead of having like 1 main captain. That makes a Terra pretty unpredictable. If anything, I think Cryogonal is a good Terra here. It can go Terra Water to be a good Greninja stop, or I guess Terra Ground as a Regieleki counter maybe, but anything's kind of possible off of that thing. Generally with Rain and Sweepers being the biggest standouts though, I'll be prepping with that in mind. I need options to switch into those big Rain abusers as well as my own ways to apply offensive pressure, maybe take advantage of that Rain a little bit. So with that in mind, let's start the build off with Regieleki. This is, once again, a pretty solid attacker, pretty standard set, but Thunderbolt is swapped out for Thunder because why not? Even outside of Rain, Regieleki can still function as an electric type attacker, just clicking Volt Switch, so that's fine. Terra Water gives me the super effective hit in the Sandy Shocks, and it also allows me to resist any water moves coming my way. Combined with the Yachi Berry, this is in full anticipation of Scarf or Booster Bundle being used to try to force Regieleki out. This way I am never one-hit KO'd by anything the bundle can go for, and I can just eliminate it with an electric move. We're also running a lot of speed on this set, that is to outrun +2 Dreadnought as some Shell Smash insurance. Pretty standard Regieleki stuff. My next prep was to ensure that I have a bundle switch in, so here we're going to have Specially Defensive Farigiraf. And the item is Utility Umbrella, so even under Rain, bundles shouldn't be able to 2-hit KO me unless it's with a modest specs Hydro Pump, I believe. That's the main point of the set. Future Sight is something to set up to support my offense, Thunderbolt is a direct response to the bundle, and Wish plus Protect is obviously for recovery, and it could actually stall bundle out of pumps if it comes down to that. We are Terra Steel, which resists ice as well as some random other stuff on the team such as Scizor U-Turn and both of our Caledon stabs, but obviously this isn't the primary Terra option, that's for Regieleki. Next up we're going to have Salamence, and we're going with a special set. This is something of a breaker for the matchup. Draco Meteor in particular puts a big dent in the physically bulky Arcaladon while safely pivoting me out thanks to the eject pack. Hurricane is a strong option that gets a lot better in Rain, and Flamethrower breaks through the Scizor. Even with the Rain nerf to fire moves, it hits very hard into that 4x weakness. That's actually kind of the main point of the set, checking Scizor. With Intimidate and a decent amount of HP investment, Mence takes hits pretty well from that thing, and either threatens it back with Flamethrower or roosts off the damage. We have speed for our Caledon, so I can consistently pull off the eject pack trick on it, and then just enough special attack to be slightly stronger than Timid Salamence, because I was actually building max special attack Timid and realized the EVs are a little more optimal to go for Modest with the build I was going for, so we're just kind of simulating Timid with a few extra points in special attack. I just wanted some extra bulk on Salamence. Next up we are going to have Ogerpon. This is the mandatory grass type to deal with Sandy Shocks. We switch on it pretty well and obviously threaten it out. The Mirror Herb is an emergency check to Dreadnought, so I can potentially reverse sweep it if I switch in on a smash at the right time. Ivy Cudgel is obvious stab that deals with Sandy Shocks and the water types. Low Kick handles our Caledon pretty well, Rock Tomb for Moltres, and Leech Seed catches switches to all the grass resist, including Scizor, while gaining some health on Ogerpon. I was going to run Synthesis in that slot, but it kind of sucks into Rain, obviously. I have speed for Cryogonal, and then max attack with the remainder going into HP. Next up, I have Greninja, which looks to be a very good Battle Bond sweeper this week. If I manage to get that 1 KO to activate the bond, my opponent could have a few different responses to answer it. The set is designed with those responses in mind. The Yachi Berry is here for the same reason as with Regieleki. It means that I can take any one hit from +1 bundle and continue my sweep by knocking it out with Dark Pulse. Hydro Pump and Dark Pulse are really all the coverage I need, with Hydro being very strong under Rain, and Dark Pulse hitting the Water types and Arcaludon. So with the other two move slots, Water Shuriken helps to pick things off to either start or continue the sweep, and then Waterfall is how I break through Cryogonal on its weaker physical side. The Yachi Berry also helps with that too, as does the potential flinch chance on Waterfall. I have speed on this for Cryogonal, with max special attack to make those Hydros as strong as possible, and the rest in attack to hit Cryogonal harder. I imagine this either being the late game cleaner, or a solid breaker to allow Terra Water Regieleki to clean afterwards. I did debate heavily between Surf and Hydro right up until the match. I ended up going with Hydro without the Life Orb on this set. That's kind of the standard. I do kind of need the extra power on that Hydro Pump. The calcs on Scizor in particular really did look a lot worse with Surf, so here's hoping we can get a little lucky with the pump accuracy. Then lastly, we have Tinkaton with a Spadef set. This is a backup check to bundle, of course, but it's also maybe my best switch into Arcaludon. I don't do all that much back to it, but I can switch in on a lot of its moves and potentially Encore to lock it down, especially if it's Iron Defense Body Press. Gigaton Hammer is just a strong neutral hit into a lot of targets. Knockoff is a great utility, and Stealth Rock makes this my hazard setter. And it's also nice that this is a hazard setter that beats the main form of removal on my opponent's side in that Cryogonal. So yep, pretty darn basic set. That is going to do it for the team though. Iron Bundle and Arcaludon are still going to be very tough in the match, I think, but I'm pretty sure I have enough prep for them. We'll see. Let's head on over to the battle. So this wasn't the team I was expecting. No rain. That's honestly mostly a good thing. It makes Bundle a lot less scary, but it does invalidate a lot of the decisions I made in prep. So instead of Pelipper and Arcaludon, there's Gumshoos and Tauros. Those weren't on my radar at all, but I don't think they'll be that hard to deal with. Cryogonal is the only Terra Captain, and it's Steel, so there's that. For the lead though, I looked at Joey's replays and saw that he likes to lead with Shocks, so might as well lead Ogerpon in case of that. Good luck, have fun to Joey. It is the dang Gumshoos. So, what does this thing even do? All I can really go off of is that decent attack stat that it has and Stakeout for its ability, meaning that any switch I could make could get punished pretty hard by double damage. So I might as well stay in and go for my own damage. Nothing I have can OHKO this thing. Low kick only gets 40 base power on it, but I calced Adamant Body Slam and I take it well enough with Ogerpon. So let's just hit the Ivory Cudgel, see what happens. Good damage and double edge, one hit KOs. Another quick calc shows that that was definitely choice banned. That kind of sucks. With no Dreadnought around, Ogerpon's Mirror Herb was not needed for this battle, but there's still a Sandy Shocks, and most of Ogerpon's job was to check that thing. So that's unfortunate. We might see that come back to bite us later, but at the very least I do have a nice opportunity here. With the Gumshoos at very low health, Greninja can come onto the field for a pretty good chance to get a Battle Bond. Looking at my opponent's team, I really don't see any safe switch-ins. In fact, the best answer is probably Cryogonal, but I have a pretty nice way to discourage that. Let's Waterfall, which does pick off the Gumshoos and gives me that boost. And it may just be able to trick Joey into thinking I'm a physical set, so we can avoid the Cryogonal Revenge. For that Revenge, we are going to see what comes out. It's the Bundle. That all but guarantees the Scarf, which is probably the best case scenario. Please let me take this out right now. Freeze Dry, Yachi, and Dark Pulse leaves it on 1. Post-game knowledge here, with the HP investment that it had, that was a roll in my favor, about an 81% chance to get the OHKO, so that is a bit unfortunate. It's not too bad though, I can just, Water Shuriken this turn, and Joey is reasonably going to preserve Bundle there. The Tauros switch-in is not going to take that too well, and that's just going to be a free second attack. Hydro Pump can come out and get another KO for Greninja, so we're looking pretty nice as the Sandy Shocks comes in. Of note, the Tauros did lower my attack thanks to Intimidate, so a Cryogonal felt like the best answer in this situation, but the Sandy Shocks coming in is weird, right? I'm wondering what the game plan is here. Maybe a Pasho Berry? That could actually still die to Hydro Pump. Endure Custap? Well, I have Water Shuriken for the turn after. I mean, I think I'm just going to hit this. I did actually take some time here to think about using Water Shuriken for the accuracy, but between Guaranteed Chip and a shot at a KO, I mean, I think I'd just rather try to take the KO. So yeah, we Hydro. And yeah, what did you expect? Miss. And Greninja goes down to a Volt Switch. That sucks. Instead of a dead Sandy Shocks, it's still at full, and Greninja got cut short by the accuracy. Thank you, Hydro Pump. It's fine, we did break through a couple of things. Bundle is at 1% here, and speaking of which, yeah, that's the revenge. For me, it is going to be a pretty easy Tinkaton response because there's no rain. Tinkaton is my best way to tank hits from this thing. With this being the situation, I don't think there's any world where the bundle stays in. And I know it's Scarf, so might as well go for my rocks. It is going to just flip turn out, and that is going to be into, of course, Sandy Shocks, and the rocks do go up. And honestly, looking at my team, Tinkaton kind of looks like my only way to deal with the Cragonal at this point, so I definitely need to save it. So I gotta switch it out here. I don't want to take the Earth Power. Fergraph can come in pretty easily on the Stealth Rock setup, and then of course, Shocks is just going to take the opportunity to Volt Switch out as I went for the Future Sight as it goes out into Scizor. Looking back on this, I don't love the Future Sight here. Between a Scizor, Cragonal, and a bundle that would go down to rocks anyway, it doesn't cover very much. Like, I'm not sure what I was even trying to hit with that. Maybe a Wish would have been better in that spot. But yeah, my check to Scizor is going to be Salamence, which, yeah, takes rocks. We at least get the Intimidate, but it gets U-turned on into the Cragonal. Yeah, I'm really getting caught in the Volt Turn cycle right now. I think it would be reasonable to stay in here right now and call the Rapid Spin, but that actually wouldn't accomplish very much because I'm a special Salamence, and the Tinkaton switch is, you know, really free on Cragonal. It is going to go ahead and Terra, and that is just a Rapid Spin, so makes sense. And then that Future Sight here, it's going to do pretty much nothing because it's Terra Steel. So I know I beat this, so I'm just going to go for a knock, see what happens as it Terra Blasts. I take off the boots, I already knew it had those, and like, might as well get my rocks back up while I'm around, right? But yeah, I realized that after the recover rock setup, it's just going to be able to spin this again, so it's just going to keep spinning. I'm going to go for an Encore to lock it in, and therefore the Cragonal does become pretty useless on this turn. And here's where I'm going to try to get the jump on him with that Encore lock. As he's going to go out to Sandy Shocks, I go Regieleki, and I feel great about this for like half a second. And then I come to the very quick realization that I don't KO this with the Terra Blast from full. So I'm definitely very vulnerable to the follow-up KO. That was kind of a bad turn on my part. Bad play. But let's at least think about how to salvage it. I know that I can't KO the Shocks from full, but Joey doesn't know that, right? I could be modest, I could have a boosting item, especially because I just confirmed that I'm not Boots. So maybe the Shocks is switching out here, and even if it's staying in, you would think he'd predict the Terra and maybe click the Electric move? So the conclusion I'm coming to is that I can go for a Rapid Spin for the chip damage, or just, you know, removal, which could push the Shocks into potential range of a KO if it stays in and clicks Full Switch or something. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's hope I am threatening this out. Rapid Spin, it stayed in, and please Volt Switch. It's an Earth Power. Yeah, that makes sense as the mid ground, and there goes my last offensive piece that actually beats the Sandy Shocks. Now, after that very, very bad pair of turns, the game's looking pretty rough. And I think the rest of my team just gets Volt turned on until I lose, unless I play absolutely perfectly, but spoiler alert, I'm not gonna do that. I'll admit I got a little tilted after this turn, so we can just watch as I throw the rest of this game away without thinking. Salamence in, and I don't even know if I would survive a Thunderbolt, but it has Power Gem, KO. Then, for some reason, Tinkaton in next instead of Fergraph, and yeah, I realized that's stupid, so I just switch out to Fergraph on the Earth Power, and yeah, get punished by a Spadef drop for good measure, why not? This is kind of hard to watch back. Now I just gotta sack my Tinkaton to reset the Spadef drop. We all know this game's over. Like, yeah, come on. And the Terra Steel, Fergraph is still an option, but obviously, like, no, like, nothing's happening here. Gonna Volt Switch out as I, you know, wish. And, you know, the Terra Steel comes out. U-turn on the Scizor doesn't KO. I can deny that, but I cannot deny the Sandy Shocks here. There's straight up nothing I can do. Earth Power. is going to take the KO on Furgraf. Those last like 5 turns were so bad. But yeah, GG to Joey. He played it well. There's a lot I can talk about that went wrong in this battle. There's RNG stuff that I could complain about, but it does mostly boil down to a few decisions made, particularly around the Sandy Shocks. The first factor, of course, was turn 1. I think given the position I was in with the lead matchup, I'll stand by the fact that sacking Ogerpon was really my only real option. But Ogerpon's whole job was to check Sandy Shocks, so that was a bummer. I should have just led with something else if I really needed Ogerpon that bad for later. The game started going pretty well from there, though, until the Sandy Shocks came in against Greninja. We had a sweep going, and this was the first big mistake that I made. Yes, the Hydro Miss sucks, and the game would have been a lot better for me had I hit it, but had I really been thinking a little more long term, I would have known that all I need on the Sandy Shocks is some chip damage, maybe pop a Pasho Berry, and it falls to Regieleki in the end. So clicking Water Shuriken should have been my play 100% of the time there. I mean, heck, there's even a chance it kills there if it gets 4 hits. Then the next big misplay was the double into Regieleki after encoring the Cragganol into spin. The play there was absolutely to knock off with Tinkaton as the Shocks came in. Like I said, all I needed was that chip damage on the Shocks, but I completely failed to recognize that. And then the turn after that, those 2 turns were so bad. I've recognized that Regieleki can't take the kill here, but there is absolutely no reason to risk it in front of the Shocks. As soon as that Sandy Shocks gets pushed into range of Terra Blast, which is about 85% or so to guarantee it, look at Regieleki and look at the rest of my opponent's team. What are they going to do to me? Yeah, Bundle outspeeds and Cragganol can tank some hits, but I mean, that's why we have Volt Switch. Tinkaton and Furgraf were both still very healthy. And I even have the Yachi to help out against those 2, especially the Scarf Bundle. If anything, once I realized I had made a bad switch, I could have tried to correct and course correct a little bit by sacking Salamence, and then maybe trying to force some damage onto it by going like Tinkaton or something. I don't know. But instead, I just completely blundered the Regieleki, and of course, the Shocks stayed in and just went for the KO, because, as I found out after the battle, that was a Focus Sash Shocks the whole time. So yeah, it was all about the Shocks here, missing Hydro Pump instead of guaranteeing damage with Shuriken, and then recklessly going Regieleki before any chip damage was actually done. Those couple of decisions led to this loss. I think if I had made those different choices, or, just gotten a little luckier on my Hydro Pumps, that could have potentially been a win, because once again, look at Water Regieleki plus my Spadef Walls into those last 4 Mons. That's not the way it played out, though. I made those mistakes, and Joey played it well. That is a tough loss, but, gonna have to be okay with it. I'm still at a solid 5-1 record for the season, so yeah, I'm still happy with how the season's going overall. Once again, GG to Joey, and now we're looking forward. And just as a heads up, I am probably going to skip the next week or 2 of WCL. I'll try to be back and uploading for playoffs at least, but I have a busy couple of weeks right now, and I'd prefer some extra time to focus on my pack videos. Just a heads up for you guys. I will report back at the end of the season. My final 2 weeks are against Duck Dad and Cat Measles, who are my 2 best friends in the league, so really looking forward to those. But until then, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.